In the realm of God, we are not shaped by carbon. We are shaped in glory. As much as the day is bright, you have light, you have heat, everything is there. God does not want you to be without light at night. And that is why the moon comes into play. Hello, you're welcome again to my channel. If this is your first time here, I am Osatuyi. So today we'll be looking at a topic in the Bible, even in New Testament, that is not that conventional, that people may think that if it would be in the Bible, let's say, it should be in the Old Testament. But apparently, it's in the New Testament. And there's nothing you can do about it. If you have been a follower of Jesus and you always try to argue with things in the Old Testament, this is not in the Old Testament. However, to make it balance, we are going to juxtapose it with something from the creation in the book of Genesis chapter 1, to be precise. So we are going to be looking at the creation and the wisdom of God. So I will be reading two scriptural references in general, but I may quote more than that. So the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 39 says, all flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of animals, another of fish, another of birds. So with this passage, we have been able to see that Bible is able to give us a perspective to human. And what we are taught in biology, it has put us into cadre: men, animals, fish, and birds. So those who fly, those who swim, those who are terrestrial, and man. Man is not animal. Man is created in image and in likeness of God. This is not evolution classroom. In the next verse, this is where we are actually going. It says, there are also celestial bodies and terrestrial bodies, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Verse 41, the last verse. There's one glory of the sun, another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differs from another stars in glory. So this is to tell us that every creation has glory. As man emits glory, star emits its own glory. Do we get that? And that was why he started with what we could understand, that physically, animal, birds, fish, man emits different glory. It brought everything together and called us terrestrial. So the other parts which he now introduced to us in verse 41 is the celestial, right? So the sun, the moon, and the stars, they have their own glory. So what we're actually going to look at in this topic today is that the creation of God is alive, not just as dead as we think they are. I know that we may term some things to be giving us glory when they are not alive, but in the realm of God, it is not so. Just like in the book of Genesis, when Cain killed his brother, one of the things that was presented against him was that the blood of your brother cried out from the ground, from the earth. And when God wanted to curse the serpent, and the man specifically, he cursed the earth that it will not bring forth fruit. And what is to bring forth will be tissues. So God can speak to the soil. And we know that Jesus Christ also said that when you say to this mountain, be moved. As much as that may be metaphorical, it's also real. So all these things have senses. Now that brings us to the another realm of this discussion. You know, scientists will say that if you want to test any sign of life, it must have carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, and hydrogen. I know they have an acronym for that. But in the realm of God, the test of life is not carbon. It's not hydrogen. It's not sulfur. It's not phosphorus. It is life itself. It is life itself. So you can't just try to shape God with your chemicals. After all, these chemicals, you're not the one who created them. You discover them to cry out loud. So, in the realm of God, we are not shaped by carbon. We are shaped in glory. So, to the major point we want to discuss today, that's in the book of Genesis chapter 1. We'll be looking at Genesis chapter 1, verse 15. But before we read verse 15, we'll read verse 14. It says, "Then God said, let there be light in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, 1, and seasons, 2, for days, 3, and for years, 4. So we discover that the creation and the light of God are not actually for us to have day and night to years, for seasons. This season here and signs are not just the natural autumn, winter, no. Signs here are actually spiritual events. So God can give us insight through the light He has created for us to actually be able to understand the season of life we are going into. Some may say it's that, oh, that is more prophetic. No, this is still the creation of God that we can understand. I'm not saying that we should be focusing on the creation and not the creator. The main point is look at the creator and ensure that it speaks to you. But I'm just trying to make this topic so that you'll be able to accept Him even when it comes to the creation. When God communicates to you through the Son, will you be able to even hear? When you heard in the scripture that the sun will not scorch you by day, do you think sun kills? No. But it tells more story that sun is actually living. It can kill. So when we look into the next verse, we would see the point more clearly. It says, verse 16, it says, "Then God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also." So let's talk about the moon a little bit. And that's where I'm going to end here. The first insight I would like us to get from the moon is the moon does not create its own light, which we all know, right? It only generates its light. It does not even generate. It gets its light from the sun and gives to us on the earth. Is that simple enough? So, which tells me that God is much more prepared for our night time than our days. Yes. Your darkest moments, God is aware of it. If we read verse 16 again, it said, "Then God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. Stars also rule the night." So God is able to use 2 lights for us on earth to actually have illumination. The best way to put this is that God is with you in your darkest moments, which symbolizes the moon. As much as the day is bright, you have light, you have heat, everything is there. God does not want you to be without light at night. And that is why the moon comes into play. And what's the significance of the moon here, if we are to use insight for it? So, during the daytime, God has been able to communicate wisdom and knowledge to you. And your daytime talks about when best you are able to experience God. So you are to be able to record so that when it is your darkest moment, you can go back and look into your diary, the testimonies of the Lord. So that you can go back to your diary and see what the Lord has said about your life. So that your life could become an epitome of reality of God. Do we get that? This is what I'm trying to say here. As much as God is interested in your daytime, giving you a sun, during the sun time, you are able to see, you're able to generate heat. Yet, at your night time, at your darkest moment, at your lowest point, when everything looks bad, when everything looks chaotic, even in the book of Genesis chapter 1, when everything looks chaotic, God is still coming to you with a light. And that is why the moon comes in place. We all know that the moon does not create its own light. It is just a reflection of the light from the sun. In another context, God is sun, right? So in your darkest moment, God is still able to come through to you through the light that you have gotten through the day, which is the sun. So when you are at your best, always prepare God in yourself. Be an embodiment of God. How? You can trap God through his writings. Write it down. Meditate on his word. Let it be in your mind. Let it be recorded. That when things go bad, you can go back to what he has said. And with that, you'll be able to generate illumination, even at your darkest moments. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the implication of this about the insight from the creation is that God had already made systems in place for us. He does not need to come to earth today and say, sun, come up. Tomorrow, moon, you rest. No, he had already made them in cycle. He had made them in systems. So one of the systems for us to actually be able to last long in our relationship with him is this. Be able to trap God in his writings. When he tells you something, write it down so that you'll be able to use it when you are weak. Do you get that? Is that simple enough? So if you have any question about this, just send it through this comment section. I am Osatuyi. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.